Hello everybody and welcome into the Grindstone Developments Truck Series, live tonight from the famous half-mile Bristol Motor Speedway. Another short track, and it's going to be a good one here tonight. I'll tell you what, we were already at Martinsville, we saw the chaos there, but very interested to see tonight if these guys are able to make some adjustments and who's going to get the job done at the last great Coliseum. Thank you all so much for tuning in. You are watching Austin Green on PGR eSports. Special guest in the booth here tonight. We will introduce him in just a moment, but I am a little bit behind. I'll explain all the details on that here in just a moment. So before we do that, we're going to go ahead and, we're going to go ahead and get right down trackside and get into tonight's starting grid. We'll kick things off with your pole sitter here tonight, the man taking that top spot, Bryce Rayner, as we will try to re-pull this up. Not sure what that is deciding to stay up on the side. We'll go ahead and get rid of that, and here we go. All right, starting on that pole position is Bryce Rayner. Taking the second spot here tonight, it's going to be Kevin Martin. Nathan Meyer will start from the third position. It's going to be Randy Richard back in fourth. James Harris in fifth with Andrew Hale back in sixth. Kevin Kirchar seventh with Brad Thacker eighth. John Legger in ninth, and William Mann Jr. rounding out your top 10. It's going to be Tyler Meeks back in 11th. On the outside of row 6, it will be Toby Ritters. Moving on back to row number 7 here tonight, it's going to be Wesley Carter alongside Jason Nethery. Mike Hill 15th with Caleb Forsyth. Rounding out your field, he will start in 16th. And again, apologies here. Not sure why our pit stop strategy decides to keep going up. We'll see if we can get rid of that again. Now, before we actually get this race started, just some brief race info. Tonight's race is going to be 160 laps, an extra 10 from the initial plan. That'll break down to 80 miles. Bristol is just half a mile around per lap, and the lap times go by really quickly. Now, joining us in the booth here tonight, special guest Wesley Shaw. Wesley, getting ready to go green here in just a lap. How you feeling for tonight's action?
Oh man, I feel absolutely great. You know, this race is always amazing to watch. Being the last great Coliseum, we see that this track is multi-use, going from asphalt to dirt as well. With these trucks, we're just doing the asphalt track, and it's such a small track, such a close fight between all these trucks going. I think Bryce Rayner is always going to be a very solid pick in the top 5, but I think we're definitely going to have to watch out for Kevin, maybe a little bit of James Harris sitting in that top 5 spot, and maybe watch out for Andrew Hale, but I think we're ready to go racing here.
Yeah, we certainly are. By the way, quick disclaimer, you might notice tonight the overlay is going to look a little different than what it normally does. I kid you not when I say I got off work a little bit late tonight. Literally had to sprint to the car and sprint to the apartment. Got here a little bit late, and on top of that, the normal overlay we have, apparently I did not save after last week, so I'm going to have to remake it. I apologize for that. We will use our general PGR ticker here tonight, but nonetheless, the racing's still going to be great. Here we go, green flag in the air. We're underway at the last great Coliseum, and it's a great restart right out of the gate for both cars on the front row, but it's going to be Kevin Martin who takes the charge off of turn 4. To complete the first lap here, he will be your leader. Bryce Rayner quickly able to file into second. Nathan Meyer, one of the dominant trucks early in the season, into third. And the rest of the field continues to battle it out here. Already 2 laps in the books.
Yeah, especially Kevin Martin starting to kind of pull away from there on Bryce Rayner. He's just kind of getting comfortable, getting low, and make sure he's got all the traction he can get. With Nathan Meyer sitting top 3, he's kind of falling back there against the 99 car. Him and James are probably going to start fighting for position as he tries to go up on that inside before Mr. Kevin Kirchner starts pushing up. You see that 24 car just trying to fight and stay within a good gap. That 99 starts closing in with our cars. Man, that 96 is just flying off on his own. But Bryce Rayner, he's just kind of falling back, and there's nothing he can really do at this point with James Harris, again, making that inside move on that 24 truck.
Yeah, James Harris, very, very aggressive. This is what you got to do, though, here at Bristol. Again, short track, short tempers. The quicker you make the move, the better off you'll be. And that 24, he's been fast. Already at victory lane a couple times this season. Trying to see if he can get there again tonight. James Harris still looking for his first win of the season. Got himself one last season. In fact, I don't remember if he got 1 or 2. But either way, he is a last season winner, trying to do it again this year. How about further towards the back here? Again, only 16 trucks started this race here tonight. Jason Nethery with trouble here. Big damage to the front noses. He's going to actually take it back to the pits. What happened to Jason Nethery? Let's go back, take a look at it. Go ahead, Wesley.
I guess he just kind of got loose coming into that turn. I guess with these trucks, you kind of got to brake a little bit coming in, and I guess he just kind of overtook it, and his wheel kind of snapped there, hitting the wall, and that's kind of his race done there. He's going to try and tow back the pit lane and get what he can out of this race left now.
That's a massive overcorrection. You mentioned it. Gets a little bit loose into the corner. Look how hard he overcorrects here. You see those tires, the front tires start to go back to the right. Soon as they catch, straight up into the outside safer barrier. Big big hit. And then the 22, nowhere to go. I believe that was that one of the other? I'm trying to figure out exactly the. I think it was Wesley Carter. See if I'm
that's going to
correct
be
on
Wesley
that.
Carter in the FedEx truck.
Man, tough hits early, but nonetheless, the 34 is taking it to the pits and back up front. Trouble now for another truck. I think that is Wesley Carter slow on the front. You wonder if this is lingering damage. You still see some of it there on the right front, if he's just slow from that or if he was having a separate issue. We'll keep tabs on that, but back to the front we go. Battle for the lead. Kevin Martin, Bryce Rayner. Rayner has closed the gap and is trying to see if he can maybe take a peek at that 98 machine. Excuse me, 96.
Yeah, that number 55 car kind of sitting there in third. You see he's kind of shooting up a little high, especially on this track. Grip is something so tight and hard fought for. Sitting down low, they put these little traction strips just to give you a little bit more grip towards that bottom, but sitting up high, maybe a little bit slower, but just kind of let you wear down on that right rear rather than that right front. You see all these front two cars, Kevin Martin and Bryce Rayner, they're eating up that front right, just sitting so down far low. All this whole time, 14 laps in, they're definitely gonna have to be thinking about some maybe early tire strategy spits. James Harris kind of starting to conserve a little bit, sitting up high, but he's starting to kind of catch a little bit back in as they're catching some of those lap cars there.
Yeah, it's going to get interesting here with lap traffic. That's kind of one of the things that defines this track is the fact that it is so short, and you have that possibility of catching lap traffic at just about any time once you get, say, 20, 25 green flag laps under your belt. So we'll have to see who can navigate through it the best. And right now you see him already coming up on about 16th through 12th place, some of those lap trucks, and then it'll be a little while before they get to the rest of the field. Randy Richard, by the way, inside the top 5. He's down a spot from where he started. The biggest mover inside the top 10 right now is actually in 10th. That's Caleb Forsyth. Currently sits up 6 positions from where he started this race at. 776 truck. A pretty fast early Tyler Meeks. Toby Clifford, 11th and 12th. Mike Hill back in 13th. John Legger currently sitting in 14th. He's actually one of the drivers going the furthest in the wrong direction. Legger had a phenomenal qualifying lap, started inside the top 10. He has since fallen back to 14th, so he's got some work to do. And Wesley, you just talked about it. Lap traffic, here we go. They're too wide up front. Where is the 96 of Kevin Martin going to go?
Man, to be honest, I think he's probably going to try and shoot up high, sitting with that number 27 car, and he does shoot up high. Of course, the biggest thing here between this traffic is just trying to navigate the through, and then that 99 car is going to try and make the most of what he can and see if he can put that Kevin Martin truck in a bad spot. But it looks like he's going to get through just fine by himself, as he's got nothing but clean air the rest of this track until they come up on lap cars again.
Yeah, that's the good news for him. Now, the next question obviously going to be, when do we see that green flag pit stop? No stages here in the Grindstone Development Truck Series, so it's all a matter of how far can you make it on fuel and tires before you have to go in, ideally under green flags. Obviously, if we get a lot of cautions, that'll change that strategy. But I'm very impressed early on how clean guys have kept it. I know we had that one incident with Jason Nethery getting up into the outside wall, Wesley Carter getting involved. Nethery went to pits, took the fast repair, and has since made it back out, although being scored 6 laps down. Fortunately for Wesley Carter, he's still being scored in the pit, so it looks like he may be the first truck to officially retire from the race here tonight. But 24 of 160 laps complete. Kevin Martin continues to lead, now has stretched it out just enough for a little bit of breathing room, at least for the moment. With about a 0.2 of a second gap and caution. First one here of the night. I can see exactly what
happened
was.
There.
Brad Thacker? Yeah, major damage. The engine destroyed for the 56 truck. Smoke out the back, and you see the front end caved in. And, oh, I hear another truck sliding around here. I forgot exactly who that was. Nonetheless here, early caution. Wesley, I didn't get to see it. We'll go back here and see if we can figure out exactly who it was. Getting reports that John Legger may have been one of the first trucks sideways. Let's see if this was a separate incident or the same one. Starts to get loose. You know, he's going to go around on the front stretch here, and I've seen this one before. He's going to get tagged, or do they all sneak by? Looks like they all get by him there. So I'm thinking maybe that wasn't the incident. Go ahead.
That was going to be a very, very clean save up until he kind of walked himself into that wall there. Coming out of these ferns is such a difficult thing, especially with these forces. Oh, good Lord, yeah. That looks like he's just kind of coming out of a result of it.
Yeah, you're right. This is a separate incident. So Legger had that issue, and then this was a separate incident. Coming out of 4, that's Brad Thacker and William Mann Jr. coming off of turn 4. Ooh, William Mann Jr. getting right up by the wall. He gets loose. That's what it looks like to me here. He either gets loose or there's some contact first. Let's go to the aerial view and see. Again, it gets so tight coming up off the corner. Yeah, at 29, I said I think he was getting a little loose. I think what happened was initially he was tight, trying to keep it off the wall. And as doing so, he starts to get a little bit out of shape. At the same time, Thacker washing up the track just a little bit. And Thacker's going to hit him in the left rear, and round he goes. William Mann Jr., big hit, the rear end of that truck, and then Thacker, bam, hard hit to the outside wall.
Gone. Yeah, especially that William Mann Jr. These trucks are very, very understeery coming around this track, especially sitting on that midline that he was riding. As he's coming out of it, I guess he kind of throttled into it a little early, kind of bruising that rear end to kick out a little bit. Trying to correct it, and then Thacker just collides, and that's day in there.
Yeah, at least, you got that fast pair, but you said it. I mean, you have to tow here. Even just pitting is already a chance you lose a lap. Having to pay that tow bill is going to probably cost you a couple. So we'll have to see if Brad Thacker was able to at least limp it back around, or if unfortunately he got caught and having to take that tow bill and unfortunately be caught a couple laps down. Very, very close call there. Trying to see who that was that snuck by the top. I mean, it doesn't get much closer than that. In fact, there was actually a little bit of contact. Legger gets in front of it, so he was okay there. He may have had a separate issue. You see the contact right there. That might have been Caleb Forsyth, actually. And then for Legger here, he saved it there. And then who did we hear slide right here? I don't think it was him. I'm not sure who had that issue. Either way, though, back live, get ready to go. Green lights are still on the pace car, though. And at the moment, Nathan Meyer is your race leader. We've got Tyler Meeks second, Brad Thacker third, William Mann Jr. fourth, and Kevin Kirchar rounding out your top five.
We have Bryce Rayner, Kevin Martin, who are our race leaders, now cycling down into, what is that, 6th and 7th, I believe? Kind of just, I guess, a bad pit stop coming off of them. A good pit stop coming for Nathan Meyer and Tyler Meeks. We kind of see, who was our 5th place? James Harris. He was kind of sitting in 9th now. He's kind of cycled back a little bit. He's had a little bit of pushing to do, get back to where he was sitting in 3rd position.
Yeah, and as we go back towards the top 10, Randy Richard, currently the last truck in the top 10. There's Forsyth 11. Toby Clifford back in 12th. All right, here we go. Pace car gonna make that left turn. It'll be the first restart of the night. And Nathan Meyer into the restart zone. Gets a great jump. He'll catch them all by surprise here as the green flag back in the air. 30 of 160 laps complete. And Nathan Meyer right away going to sneak away to about a 5 truck length lead by the time they work into turn 3. Showing you that wide camera angle here just to show you all the different action in one sweep here at Bristol. You saw one of the trucks briefly scrape the outside wall. I think that was William Mann Jr. Now he's going to go around the 29. Can he save it? He does, and in fact, that may have been the, let's see, was that the 29 or was that the 62? I think it was the 29. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, that looks like 29 kind of getting loose there again. He's kind of having a tough night today coming out of these turns. Like I said before, these trucks are very, very loose coming through this turn, especially around that midline like he's been doing tonight. And I guess he just kind of gassed into it a little early, causing him a big old spin there. Lucky he's got that save, otherwise he'd have to be using that fast repair very, very early, sitting here lap 33 going now.
Yeah, heck of a save by William Mann Jr. And man, I'm seeing a lot of smoke here. I was trying to figure out what that's from. Don't see any incidents, not getting reports of any either. So I got to assume that's some tire smoke from a previous incident. Now, by the way, and you just heard Wesley touch on this, Bristol is an extremely tough track. I had the opportunity to do some testing here over the week in these trucks, and let me say it this way. The track itself isn't that difficult to run. To run this track fast is extremely difficult, and you will see a major difference between the guys that are running about half a second faster than others in terms of how loose their truck is. Trying to get everything you can, washing up to the top, and then trying to get back in the throttle as quick as possible. Everybody thinks you use a ton of brake here, Wesley. I don't think these guys do, at least not early in the run. I know you've had some experience here. What do you think of this track?
Oh man, well, yesterday I was participating in the Collegiate iRacing League, and I got some experience here in the Next Gen Cups. And you are not touching them brakes at all in those cars, but compared to these trucks, you're having to just tap it a little bit, just a little bit of trail braking coming off the entry, just to slow yourself down and get that better rotation coming through the mid corner, like 1 to 2 and 3 to 4. It's really hard to just nail it down though, especially with these kind of heavier trucks that's got almost no downforce in the back. Makes it a little bit harder coming out of 2 and 4. So just trying to nail it and be fast around it, having the 3 different lines, 3 different wears on your right tires is such a most difficult thing to do. As we see William Mann again spin, bringing out another caution.
Yeah, the night just keeps getting worse here the 29 of William Mann Jr. You saw him really back up the pace. He was trying to keep this truck clean and keep it nice and easy. But as he gets into the next corner here, it goes up the banking and starts to correct, and it just starts stepping out. He tries to save it, catches it a couple times, but then eventually round she goes. He tags the inside wall. That's a pretty big hit for William Mann Jr. right there. That, we saw the damage from the earlier incident. This one, I don't know if it's going to quite end his night, but at this point, it's certainly rough going for the 29 here.
Yeah, I'd have to imagine in his head, he's probably not very happy. He's got to be saying something down in that chat there. Coming off these incidents where he's kind of spinning himself, them tires have to be absolutely melting. He's probably going to be reaching upwards of 220 degrees on them rears, and trying to keep it straight on such a tight corner with overheated tires is super, super hard to do. And that line just was not adding up for him.
No, it really wasn't. And watch the catches here. I'll play it in slow motion for you. Right as he comes around, here's one, saves it there, but now the truck's lost all of its balance, all the stability, and he's going to try to catch it again, but at that point, the rear end just too far sideways and not going to be able to save it there. Now, the good news here is he doesn't come back up the track, so nobody else collected, as he did have quite a few trucks in line behind him, but obviously, again, a really unfortunate break there for the 29. Back up front, Wesley, we didn't get a chance to say it because the caution came out as you were talking. I was getting ready to say that we had a lead change up here. Bryce Rayner just took that lead away from Nathan Meyer before the caution. Obviously, he was on fresher tires, but now that's going to switch the advantage over to guys like Nathan Meyer and everybody else who decided to take tires, as they're going to have fresher tires, and now we're later in the run. So it'd be interesting to see how quickly they can get back to the front. Now you figure 42 of 160 laps complete. Seems like we still got a pretty long ways to go, but we know they go by quick here. So I think if you're any of these drivers, you got to be maybe thinking that this race is going to see an end pretty soon here, and I don't think you can rely on getting tires any point after, I don't know what, maybe right around lap 130 at the latest.
Yeah, honestly, with how many cautions are coming out, I would be probably cycling a couple of tires. With how aggressive these trucks run, I kind of had a little bit of experience over the weekend as well, just like you, running these trucks with the setups around Bristol, and the amount of tire wear in a 20-lap stint is insane. You go down, if you're running down low, you're sitting probably 80% after a 20-lap run, and that's almost no life at all with these trucks, especially when you're wanting to run a long stint and just sit out and take what you can. But as that pace car comes in, we're fixing to look at a green flag run.
Here we go. Green flag back in the air. 43 of 160 complete here tonight in the Bristol 150, and it's a good restart by the 99 of Rayner. He'll take that lead back from the 96. Kevin Martin, arguably one of the fastest trucks here tonight. Kevin looking for his first win of the season. And how about Bryce Rayner? Man, he has come up just short a few times, and he's had the speed this season. It's just going to be a matter of, can he put it all together? He's had a mix of bad luck, mix of bad timing, and everything else in between. So he'll try to convert here tonight, see if he can get that first win. Now watch Nathan Meyer back here in the 24. I know he is one of those first trucks on fresher tires. I'm curious to see not only the lap time difference, but how quickly he can get back to the front. In fact, we'll watch here just a couple laps worth of telemetry for Nathan Meyer. In fact, speaking of telemetry, let's show you what the weather has been like here tonight. Very, very cool track temp. 68 degrees, so obviously the grip level a little bit higher than it normally would be. And even with that, we've still seen a few trucks struggling with grip. Now, 15 flat the last two laps for Nathan Meyer. For Bryce Rayner, 14 sevens. So that clean air is still prevailing. The fresher tires not showing any advantage just yet. But obviously still a lot of time to go, and still a pretty tight battle up here for the lead. Kevin Martin wants it.
Absolutely. You see Mr. Bryce Rayner, he's just making all the moves he can, just trying to stay up front, and Kevin Martin has been all over that behind since that green flag dropped. His entrances are a lot sharper, but Kevin Martin's just been all over left, right, up, down, right, up, and in the middle, making sure he is not getting comfortable at all. Though coming out of that exit, it looks like he's got a little bit of room, but Kevin Martin's just going to close it right back down coming into 3 and 4. That's where he's been strongest all night. See him just kind of gain time coming through there, and I guess Bryce Rayner's just kind of stronger that first half of the track, and James Harris starting to fall behind even more. I'd probably be thinking to save tires there, like what he's probably doing, but Bryce and Kevin are just pushing it with everything they got there.
And it definitely did look like Kevin was better on entry. I think Rayner a little bit better on exit. And obviously that battle of where you want to be better at. The 55, though, James Harris kind of running that middle groove. This is an interesting line to me in the sense of I thought we'd see more drivers up top. but even your leaders have been kind of stuck to the bottom here. Now, on officials all week, it seemed like the fastest way around was the top. But again, if you're looking for long run speed, you don't want to burn those tires up. That's why you take the shortest way around the racetrack and run just a little bit slower. We'll have to see how that changes as this run goes on. But further back, about Toby Ritter's currently in 12th. Still no net gain or loss from where he started this race at. William Mann Jr. 13th. Mike Hill in 14th. You've got Jason Ethery back in 15th. Wesley Carter 16th. But for Bryce Rayner right now, I mean, it seems like every time he gets that gap up to almost half a second, Martin closes it back down to a couple truck lengths, and then the gap starts to open again. So it's just a battle of who's going to make that mistake first. And one thing that could help determine this battle is when do they catch lap traffic, and where does that lap traffic go?
Man, with these trucks, you kind of want to run that middle groove like what they've been doing all night. Running too low kind of forces a little bit too much wear on that front right, and running too high kind of pushes a little bit too much on that right rear. So kind of running right down the middle is kind of perfect, sitting like Goldilocks, man. Especially with Kevin Martin. He's been kind of sitting around that middle, a little bit higher than Bryce Rayner, but not too low to wear that right front. He's just been kind of finding that groove and sticking to it. He's kind of found his groove tonight as we see James Harris getting that move back against the number 4, Andrew Hale. They've been kind of fighting back here, and I know James is absolutely trying to save all the tire he can for a little bit more laps. He has to waste it, but that 53 in the 4 car are just not letting it happen.
And that was really, really close right there. I think, in fact, 55 Harris may have just barely tapped the outside wall as him and Andrew Hale were really getting into it there just a minute ago, but they have since sorted things out, and so all good there. Now, by the way, last week at Talladega, not sure, obviously we weren't here. Michael Trescaro filling in the broadcast for us on that one. So it'd be interesting to, I didn't get to check yet who got the win last week. Wesley, I'm not sure if you were in that race.
Oh, I was actually racing. I got kind of caught out near the end, sitting all across the runs there. Let me see.
And assume it was Brian High. I believe that might be who got the win last week. And if so, that's the first win of the season for Brian High, a big one at that. And obviously going to help spur some momentum for him going forward into tonight, which I don't think we see High on the racetrack here tonight. We don't. So Brian High won the race, decided to go take a break for a week, and hopefully we'll see him again next week. But, I mean, here tonight, what more can you ask for? The racing has been absolutely terrific. One caution to speak of so far, 63 laps in the books. Bryce Rayner continues to lead as they have now gotten into some of the first lap traffic here tonight, but it is still the 99 holding everybody off behind him. Kevin Martin files through the lap traffic as well, but not able to gain any time. Again, Rayner did a really good job getting through there, and it's always a battle because you know that some of the lap trucks are going to kind of let you by. They're not going to fight you too hard for it, but at the same time, if you're one of these lap trucks, well, I say lap trucks, if you're one of these trucks on the lead lap trying not to lose a lap, you have all the right to race as hard as you want against the leaders.
Absolutely. They don't really kind of show the blue flag as you kind of see Bryce Rayner almost get up into that number 3 car. That number 3 car got to be thinking he wants that lap back. He doesn't want to go a lap down. He wants every time he can get, but there's not really much you can do when a car is going almost a second and a half faster than you, but to get out of the way and just let him go. Kind of just leaving him more in clean air and making Kevin Martin make a mistake kind of coming through against that number 3. He kind of shoots a little high right at the moment that number 3 car shot up. Just giving Bryce Rayner a little bit more of a kick room to get away from, but Kevin Martin just closes that gap back down coming off that exit.
Yeah, these two are going to continue to probably be the storyline of tonight unless that 24 of Nathan Meyer can get back to the front. I'm shocked that he's not closer to the front after going in for tires, but nonetheless, 24 currently sits back in that 8th position. All right, we're going to take our first break tonight. We'll go side by side so you don't miss a thing. Stick with us. We'll be right back at Bristol.
I played a couple of simulators and this was like very responsive, especially the hydraulics and stuff, the motion and stuff was really, really on point.
But you feel like you're really driving, it feels real.
It adds so much to the experience.
It's just really, really cool.
It was pretty awesome.
Have created our own drink company. The fastest growing sports drink in history.
We will run! We will run! Ladies and gentlemen, the monkey is prime! This season, we are hydrated!
The official sports drink of the UFC. It's time!
Oh, that's good.
Green flag is in the air. We are racing. Three by three. Almost no trouble. Around goes Alex Hill. On into the outside wall goes Hill. They're wrecking big time out back. We're not going to throw a caution. Finish. Who gets it at the line? Cody Nagels wins it in Talladega.
Welcome back to Bristol Motor Speedway with the Grindstone Developments Truck Series live in the Bristol 150. Saw all the action while we were on break, but no change for the lead. Bryce Rayner continues to hold them all off. Kevin Martin second, Randy Richard in third, Nathan Meyer fourth, and James Harris currently rounding out your top five. Now pit stops still kind of up in the air now. You figure we went back green with about 30 laps complete. That's still 130 laps of green flag racing. I don't think that they can make it that far. I still think there's a pit stop in play, but I think the big question here, Wesley, is going to be, do you pit early, do you pit late, or do you split it in half?
To be honest, if I was Bryce Rayner, I'd be trying to kind of run it a little bit long just to get the fresher tires later on. But if I was Kevin Martin, I'd be thinking of that early strategy, just to get some tires early. Kind of see him getting up into that wall a lap or two ago. He's kind of starting to ride that high line, meaning his tires are starting to go. He's starting to feel that wear, and that low line's no longer working for him. You see him just kind of floating back there. But with Bryce Rayner, he's still being very, very, very aggressive on that low line, meaning he's probably kind of saved around a little bit, just kind of wasting it through. But with Kevin Martin, he's just kind of floating it, kind of hitting his tires to last.
The next closest battle we have on track right now is the one for that third spot. Randy Richard currently fending off Nathan Meyer, and looks like, thought that was Forsyth for a position, but it is not. Caleb Forsyth currently being scored 3 laps down, so he is just running with that group. James Harris right now battling with Tyler Meeks. Meeks on the inside, trying to make this move work. Maybe a little bit of a slider off the corner, but he can't make it stick. And so Meeks will stay disciplined on the inside, and you can tell Harris, you just pointed to this on some of the trucks that we were watching, and Wesley, I think that Harris is maybe losing a little bit of grip too as he continues to wash up the racetrack, trying to get anything he can, but Meeks on the bottom passed relatively easily. And we'll see if Meeks is able to scoot away, but you see Harris continuing to creep up by that outside wall, maybe even skimming it just briefly as he continues to search around for a little bit more grip. Andrew Hale 7th, Kevin Kirchar 8th, Brad Thacker in 9th, and John Legger currently rounding out your top 10, and currently the first car a lap down. So only 9 left on the lead lap. And again, lap times here about 15 seconds or so, so we're getting ready to see 2 more get put a lap down. Before this race is all said and done, we could only see a handful of cars left on the lead lap.
Absolutely. You see Bryce Rayner just starting to pull a lot of distance between Kevin Martin. I guess what he figured he was trying to do was trying to get those lap cars in the way and just kind of bug up Kevin Martin with a caution coming out.
Tyler Meeks Try to figure out exactly what happened here, but that's pretty heavy damage on the front nose of his truck. We just noted Meeks getting by the 55 of Harris, making up some good ground. Looked pretty smooth, consistent on the inside. Next thing you know, he's in the inside wall. What happened here for Meeks? Going down into the corner. Looks good through the center. As he gets on the exit, just gets a little too greedy with the throttle. Oh, man, that's a shame. Meeks was having a great night going for him. Getting up into those top 5 spots, but now this is obviously going to be a pretty big setback here for him, Wesley. And if we watch it again here, watch it as he goes to the corner, trying to get on the throttle, and it just goes around so quick. It's so hard to save it.
Absolutely. Coming in this later stage on those tires, man, I was saying it earlier, kind of sitting down low is kind of wasting that front right and just coming into it a little early, spins those rears, and there's no saving it once you're past that point.
Certainly isn't. Well, the 7 obviously going to have to go in and either get quite a bit of repairs done, or I would, in his case, probably just take the fast repair. Don't want to spend time sitting in the pits here if you don't have to. Oh, man, that was close right there at the end. As that truck started to wash back up, Andrew Hale roaring by it. Well over, still probably 120 miles an hour. I mean, we saw it in the real-life race on Saturday in the Xfinity Series, and the only reason I'm mentioning this is wrecks here at Bristol are just about as dangerous as a Daytona or a Talladega for trucks that aren't even close to the wreck, because the way this track is, so much banking in the corners, but still so short, and you're going so fast that things come up so quickly that, even if you see a guy at the end of a straightaway, you figure that's only about 1/10 of a mile, and you're still going well over 120 miles an hour. That's not a lot of distance to try to stop. So we see a lot of big hits here when trucks come back on the racetrack, but again, a really, really close call right there. Nonetheless, though, as everybody brings it in for a pit stop, Nathan Meyer's going to pick up a few positions here, as Bryce Rayner currently being scored in 2nd, Kevin Martin in 3rd, and Randy Richard 4th, with James Harris rounding out your top 5, and we are getting ready to hit that lap 100 mark.
Absolutely. Coming off these top 5, you kind of see them kind of spread out after that long stint going between them, with Nathan Meyer kind of sitting towards the back end of the top 10. If I had to say, his strategy definitely had to be just sit back, wait for the next big caution, and cash it in and take what he can. He was definitely having to save, if at all. And that huge caution, whatever distance you had to your next car is now gone. Now you're just kind of waiting on this green flag to drop and get whatever jump you can to get what position you can take.
Yeah, it goes in a hurry, and looks like caution lights are going to come back on, which is perfect timing. It gives me the opportunity to go and show where we head next on PGR eSports and pull that up for you. That will be on Thursday night. In fact, there is, I believe, an event happening tomorrow night, the money racing side of things, but Thursday night, this flyer needs to be updated, but over on PGR eSports, we'll have the Intimidator Super Speedway Series, which, interestingly enough, is, again, the overlay that I'm currently using tonight. Got home last second here tonight and pulled up the overlay. And guess what? I forgot to save it after last week. So unfortunately, I'm going to have to remake the overlay that you saw me using the last few weeks. And I will have that ready for next week. Again, I do apologize to anybody watching at home for that inconvenience. Everything else, though, should be going pretty good. I hope that everybody tuning in is enjoying themselves tonight. Lorraine, Nasia, Rev Limiters. Hope you guys are all having a good night. Again, you're watching Grindstone Developments Truck Series here at Bristol. Green flag back in the air. It'll be 97 of 160 laps complete. And so far, so good. Nathan Meyer with a great jump, as he will actually take the point here relatively quickly. Back things up here just a little bit, and you see it's still 2x2, the 53. Randy Richard on the outside of 56, Brad Thacker on the inside. Those two remain 2x2 as they work into the corner. Now, if you're Andrew Hale here, he showed some speed earlier in the season at Martinsville early in that race. See if he can continue his trend of marching to the front as he is right now, up a spot from where he started this race at. By the way, Thacker, good recovery for him, involved in an earlier incident. Had to take a fast repair. Here he is, now back inside the top 5 as well, as you hear a couple trucks out back. Getting a little uncomfortably close to the wall, but up front, it's all Nathan Meyer for the lead. But Wesley, it's a scramble for second right now. 3 trucks in the mix.
Absolutely. You see James Harris just running all the way across the track from top to bottom, just trying to fend off against Thacker and Randy Richard. He is just lighting on his life. As you see that 53 car dive down low, and James Harris fighting on that outside, trying to take that position back, still sitting up high. But that 53 car just edges ahead, leaving James. And we have a caution coming out again.
And this is trouble involving one of the fastest trucks of the night, Kevin Martin, and the man who brought out the last caution, the 7 of Tyler Meeks. I don't see a lot of damage on either of these trucks. Well, Kevin Martin a little bit there on the right front. Certainly not too bad as far as the short track standard for damage goes. Let's go back and look at it now. Your fourth caution of the night officially pushes us over the lap 100 mark. This is coming off of turn number 4, and it looks like, man, did Kevin Martin just creep up, or did Meeks creep off the wall? Let's see here. From that angle,
It looks kind of like a mixture of both.
yeah, maybe a little bit of both. I think what you really had happen there is I don't know if Meeks really moved down as much as he just didn't really move up. I don't think that Kevin thought the 7 was going to be quite that low, and I say that low. I mean, if you're Tyler Meeks, he's running in his lane here. You might be right, Wesley. Maybe creeping down just a little bit. It's really difficult to tell. Watch it again from the chopper view. Maybe slightly, yeah. It may have been a slight mixture of both, but they were running so close that it didn't take much movement from either one of them to create that contact. The 96 gets hooked in the right rear, and that just immediately sends him into the outside safer barrier. They go for a slide here till about halfway through turn 1 and 2. And then again, able to straighten it back up and continue on. Close call right there for Ritters at the end, but no further damage.
Yeah, it just looked like a little kind of bump and tap against that front of that 96 car. And just that little bit of damage coming against that number 7, Tyler Meeks. Just kind of give him maybe at the most, maybe a little bit of wheel damage. He may just kind of ride it out and take what damage he has and see where he can get to. If at most he may go into the pits there. I haven't seen him have to use a quick repair at all night.
Yeah, that would be the at least good news to try to bring out of this, but again, another caution here tonight. And so now everybody well inside that fuel and tire window to the point of if it does go green the rest of the way, everybody would be able to make it. So 104 of 160 laps complete. Nathan Meyer still your race leader. Randy Richards second. James Harris now inside the podium in that third spot. Brad Thacker fourth, and Andrew Hale currently rounding out your top 5. By the way, talking about the upcoming schedule for the Grindstone Developments Truck Series here. The next few races on tap for these guys. Next week, we're going to head to another short track, and that will be Rockingham. That is where the trucks are running in real life this upcoming weekend. And after that, we will end April off at Dover, the Monster Mile. Then we'll head back to the Mile and a Half, Texas Motor Speedway, followed by Kansas, before we go to another short track in North Wilkesboro. And then it'll be back to one of the more famous Mile and a Half, Charlotte Motor Speedway, followed by Nashville Super Speedway. We will end the season at a 2-mile beast of an oval, which is going to put on a great show, and that is Michigan International Speedway. But obviously, again, it is an accumulated points championship, so it's not going to be the champion is determined at the last race necessarily. Every race means a lot, and for Nathan Meyer, if he could capture another win, that'd be number 3 on the season as the green flag back in the air. The field quickly single filing out further back, but up front, you still have 2 rows of 2x2 action. Looks like 55 going to try to sneak up in line in front of Brad Thacker. He'll do just that before Andrew Hale behind. And oh, trouble, that is Nathan Meyer. Oh no, what happened here to your race leader? Meyer with a big slide up into the outside wall. Off the pace he is, and oh man, what in the world went wrong here?
Man, it just kind of looks like he got a little loose coming through that turn. It kind of looks like he throttled into it a little early, just losing it.
And the caution did come out. Oh, that's the same incident. I'll tell you what is what we saw for Jason Nethery. The start of the race as he goes in the corner, gets the back end just wiggling around a little bit, overcorrects, and look at him chase it up the track. Man, I don't know how he doesn't spin. I think the wall saves him a little bit. But then ultimately the caution does come out here for this, so I'm assuming it was for this. Yeah, I don't see any other incident, so I'm going to assume it was for that. So a break for, Meyer in the sense of he gets the caution, but obviously he's lost all the track position.
And I'm just kind of surprised he saved it coming in there against that wall. I thought that he was going to come into contact with that number 53 car. I'm very, very, very surprised he did not. I kind of honestly thought that was going to be a little bit of netco, but I think you're kind of right there. He kind of just overcorrects and up into the wall he goes.
Man, it's been a lot of really, really good drivers here tonight that have had issues in these really unexpected spots in the sense of they've been consistent all night there. Nathan Meyer had no trouble there the whole night. Then all of a sudden, late in the race here, becomes a problem. Now, by the way, looking again at what your weather's like right now, 68-degree track temp. Grip is definitely up. Maybe that's why we haven't seen as many issues tonight, but we're going to be coming to less than 50 laps to go. So we're starting to get down to crunch time here. 50 laps at Bristol, it's not that much. 40 laps is only 10 minutes worth of racing. So it's going to go by pretty quickly here, and I think that we're getting close to that window, Wesley, where if I'm out on the racetrack in the top 5, I may not consider pitting again, even if I do have a set of fresh tires left.
Absolutely. With how much you're having to save and how many laps have gone by, if you pit at least once or twice, I think you're going to be good on tires. If you're outside the top 5, it may be a close call. You may see that 5th position if you can make the most perfect pit strategy you've ever seen. But I think if you're in the top 5, I think you're pretty golden. If there's one more caution, you take the tires, and I think you have a secure spot in the top 5 already with that James Harris. Number 2, Randy Richard. First, John Thacker in 3rd position, Andrew Hale in 4th, and Bryce Rayner all the way back up now in 5th again. We kind of saw him find a fall back after a little while earlier, coming off that one big caution coming out.
Absolutely. All right, lights are off on the pace car. Means we're going back green this time, and I like what we're seeing on the front row. 2 drivers still looking for their first win this season. 2 veterans of the series, Randy Richard. See what he can make happen here. Here's the 55 James Harris with the GCM sponsor. How about Kevin Kirchar here tonight? I haven't had a chance to really mention his name. He was started out early and then went to the pits, and he's been there since. So not sure what the issue is for the 91. We'll see if he can get that GCM truck back out on the racetrack before things are all said and done. Here we go. Pace car is going to make that left turn, and it'll be a great restart for the 53 of Randy Richard as he sees the green flag back in the air. Quickly to 55, going to try to slot in line. James Harris will do just that. And man, 2x2, watch out back. One into the wall. That's the 19 of John Legger. Going to get some contact. Whoa, man, a couple trucks getting really out of shape here. Looks like for now everybody is going to save it, but man, you can tell that some of these guys are starting to realize that time's winding down as well, Wesley.
Absolutely, that fighting going on all over the field. You kind of see them hacking up, going 3 wide at occasions, just trying to make whatever position they can. I think they also may know that top 5 might be out of the way, but whatever you can get, 6th to 10th is probably going to be the best you can get, with 6 being probably the highest you'll go. Especially being that Bryce Rayner sitting 5th, there's no way that if you're in the back car, there's no way you're pushing that 5th car. You're just going to take what you can.
Absolutely. So we're getting close to that 40 lap to go mark, and just like that, things have all single filed back out. Sure didn't take long, I'll tell you that much. And Randy Richard trying to create some breathing room here. He's got almost half a second as well. Erase that gap. Caution. Back out now. This time for Kevin Martin again. And I'm seeing some damage that maybe indicates, was he the only truck here? Yeah, that is actually his left front fender. And he's going to tow it back to the pits. So all of a sudden, one of the fastest trucks of the night has had a night go from good to bad here in the span of about a handful of laps, involved in the last incident and gets involved in this one as well. Watch this here. Coming off the corner, Wesley. Again, a incident that we have seen already multiple times tonight. Just gets loose right as it seems like the truck's set. And when you get loose that late, there's just not much you can do. That inside wall comes up quickly. And for the 96 here of Kevin Martin, I wanted to watch it from a different view. Here we go. Watch it from his roll bar cam. Back this up again for you. Just watch the wheel and take a listen here to the RPMs. All right, and apologies. I don't know what happened, but it seems like for a moment the stream decided to cut out. Did not miss much there. So again, if you're just tuning in, we appreciate you being here. You're watching the Grindstone Developments Truck Series on PGR eSports. The Bristol 160 here from the last great Coliseum. The 53 Randy Richard going to line back up on the front row. And it looks like the 55 of Harris. Big opportunity again for him right here, being on the front row. So 40 laps to go. Oh, go ahead, Wesley.
I was going to say, you kind of see him. He started back in 5th, and he's just been kind of fighting through this top 10, top 5. You consistently see him kind of fall back a little bit, but you see him catch right near the end, right before that caution comes out. You just kind of got to leave him thinking, is this going to go green till the finish, and can I come away with the win? Yeah,
that is the big question. Obviously, if you win here, it takes the pressure off of getting a win this season. And this is one of the most difficult tracks to do it at. So we'll see who's going to get the job done here tonight. Here we go. Green flag back in the air. Less than 40 to go at Bristol. Another good restart. This time a little bit better of a restart for the 55. He's going to try to cross Randy Richard over through 1 and 2. He can't do it. Richard slammed the door. Now here comes the 56 of Brad Thacker on the outside. He's trying to make his way through the field. 53. Randy Richard now going to be able to create a little bit of space between himself and James Harris. Richard up top, James Harris on the bottom, and I wonder at what point here, Wesley, is this going to switch to just run the fastest line and you don't have to worry about saving tire anymore?
To be honest, the fastest line's probably going to come out around 140-ish on that last 20 laps. You're going to start seeing a lot of different line changes. You kind of see James Harris just kind of sitting on the same line he's been running all night, that middle to low, and he shoots low coming out of the 4. There's absolutely the same line he's been using the last 125 laps. He's definitely going to start shooting a little bit lower, just wearing down that front right later on. I think probably lap 40's got to be the turnaround to see the next few top lines coming out.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting indeed. James Harris kind of in a weird spot here because he's trying to chase down Randy Richard, but he's also got to look in the mirror to try to fend off Andrew Hale. And don't look now, but guess who? The 99 of Bryce Rayner is starting to make his way back up into the mix, and this is how it feels like it's kind of been for the 99 every week. The speed's been there, but it always comes down to running out of time at the end. You wonder if he's going to have that same problem tonight. Still has 33 laps to go, but again, that goes by pretty quickly here when you're only running, 15 seconds a lap. So we'll have to see how this plays out for Bryce Rayner. John Lager 6th, William Mann Jr. Wow, boy, I didn't think I'd be saying he recovered this well. Up to 7th after 2 separate incidents tonight. I could have swore he got multiple laps down at one point. And now back inside the top 10. What a run. Nathan Meyer back in 9th. Caleb Forsyth currently in 10th. And the last truck on the lead lap. So Randy Richard, again, continues to be your race leader. Harris continues to chase. We're going to go ahead and take one more break. We'll go side by side so you don't miss a thing. Stick with us for the finish here at Bristol.
I played a couple of simulators, and this was like very responsive. Especially the hydraulics and stuff, the motion and stuff was really, really on point.
Make you feel like you're really driving. It feels real.
It adds so much to the experience. It's just really, really cool.
It was pretty awesome.
Have created
Uh-oh.
Drink Company.
the fastest growing sports drink in history.
We will run. Ladies and gentlemen, the pilot.
The monkey is prime!
This season, we are hydrated.
The official sports drink of the UFC. It's on!
Oh, that's good.
Green flag is in the air. We are racing. Three by three. Almost no trouble. Around goes Alex Hill. On into the outside wall goes Hill. They're wrecking big time out back. We're not going to throw a caution. Finish. Who gets it in the line? Cody Nagels wins it in Talladega.
Welcome back to Bristol Motor Speedway, closing in on the end of the Bristol 160, the Grindstone Developments Truck Series. And boy, do we have quite the battle setting up here Randy Richard, still your race leader, but you saw it over break. Bryce Rayner finally got by 4th and 3rd place. Excuse me, make that, yep, 4th and 3rd place. Has got himself up to 2nd, I guess at the time then. I should say he got by 3rd and 2nd place to take that 2nd spot. And now it's just a battle between can he chase down Randy Richard over the course of the next 16 laps. Now, right now, Randy Richard over half a second ahead, but Wesley, we know that that gap's going to close down pretty quickly. Bryce on fresher tires seems to have a little bit of a faster truck, but half a second, 15 laps, how bad does he want it, and how bad does Randy Richard want it?
Man, to be honest, I think Bryce Rayner might want it a little bit more. You see how much he is clawing back, but we might see Randy Richard start thinking about defending just because of how fast he's coming in. He's probably definitely looking at black blocks in his truck thinking, man, this truck's coming in. I need to have a defense strategy in case he starts moving in. As you see him just slowly creeping in ever slowly.
Yeah, and I'm looking here, and I just don't see any way that the 53 Richard's going to be able to hold him off. Rayner is basically there, and again, I know we always talk about how quick laps go by here, but 13, when you're basically on the guy's bumper, is more than plenty. Now, the next question becomes, if it gets too difficult to get by Randy Richard, obviously catching the guy and passing him, two totally different things. Does he think about trying the old bump and run on him here? I don't think he's going to have to worry about it because Richard's running high and the 99's running low, which seems to be the faster lane right now.
Absolutely. Like I was saying earlier, Bristol has contact strips that they put down on this asphalt track just to give it a little bit more traction on the bottom. That way these trucks kind of don't spin. And I guess that traction strip is definitely paying off because you just see him coming up against that fender and he's slowly gaining. That 53 is definitely starting to regret running high now.
And here we go. Battle for the lead, maybe battle for the race win. The 99 Rayner on the inside, Randy Richard on the outside. Looks like Richard still has the momentum here, and how long can he make that work? That's the question right there, is can Rayner get by, or is Randy Richard going to continue to get the defensive advantage? 10 laps to go, and I'll tell you what, Rayner got there pretty quick, but it seems like he's kind of stalled out now.
Yeah, those tires are starting to go. I was kind of saying over break that once you start pushing super
Oh, watch out,
low.
lap car into the wall. Sorry to cut you off. Man, that was a scare for both of the leaders.
Absolutely, that gave me a fright in my seat. I thought we might see a big cycle here saying goodbye to the 53 and 99 car. But you see that 99 still holding that bottom. He might just be poking ahead just a little bit. But the question is, are those tires going to give out in the last couple of closing laps?
And hats off to Rayner here. He is racing him extremely respectfully. You know, usually what you'll see is if a guy gets irritated, he'll wash that other guy up the racetrack or just try to punt him. Rayner, though, trying to do this the old-fashioned way here to see if he can get by clean, and I think he might get it here. It seems like that 53 is finally starting to fade. Rayner's got it, and he slides clear. The 99 Rayner takes the lead with 6 laps to go.
And that 53 is still sitting high. He's trying to make whatever shot he can. He might be thinking about trying to shoot a little low. There he goes. He kind of sits lower, trying to get a little bit closer, but Bryce Rayner's already far gone. He's got that low line figured out all night long. That 53 just made too late of a change. He's kind of going back to that mid to high, trying to figure out what might be a little bit faster to get a little bit of a run, but that Bryce Rayner, he's clear air now.
It was a great call by Randy Richard to stay on the strategy he was on, and it looked like it might have worked, but I think he just used his stuff up. And now it's just a matter of him trying to hold on the best he can, while Bryce Rayner wants to see that white flag more than anything right now, and he's going to be just 2 laps away from it as he crosses the line this time. 3 laps to go at Bristol.
Yeah, you see kind of Nathan Myers sitting in P3. He might be thinking this might be a golden opportunity to push whatever I have left just to get even closer to Randy Richard. You kind of see him just slowly closing in on it. But I think he's going to be just a little bit too far for it.
Yeah, just not enough with the amount of laps left. And here we go. Race is going to be official as he crosses the line this time around off of turn number 4. Bryce Rayner will see the white flag. 1 lap to go at Bristol. The driver, who had quite the start to the season, not in the way he necessarily wanted, though. Had the speed each and every week, but something kept him out of victory lane. Not tonight. Rayner charges late, and as he comes off of turn 4, first win of the season comes at Bristol.
That's got to be a lot of stress coming off of him. That was a very stressful race. He's been pulling, kind of got into that little tiny accident earlier, but he's kind of held it strong, held it low, and giving it all she's got. He's bringing nothing but the steering wheel back to the pit lane there, Austin.
And what a finish as well for Randy Richard and Nathan Meyer, who take home 2nd and 3rd tonight. But it is Bryce Rayner grabbing his first win of the season. He's going to burn it down here in front of the virtual grandstands on the front stretch. And man, what a race we saw here tonight. I'll tell you what, for Bristol race, that was one of the cleanest ones I think I've ever seen put on by a league. So hats off to all these drivers for the job that they did here tonight. And again, hats off to Bryce Rayner. He is your race winner. All right, as he continues to burn it down, take a look at your finishing results here on the night before we go grab your top 3 for interviews. So give me just a moment here to work on getting that up. But, I mean, man, for Rayner here, Wesley, I got to think that this was something that maybe not... I think a lot of people expected he'd get that win, but I think after the way the last couple weeks had been, not a lot of people were expecting it to happen tonight.
Absolutely. I don't think he was truly expecting himself. I mean, he got put first position qualifying. He's bringing it home first. I think he's bringing it home a good weekend for him. As you just kind of see him pull up onto the podium, he's got to be absolutely happy and screaming himself. As you just kind of saw him earlier, head up into the invisible wall up in the first part of the pits. Kind of just left me chuckling here as he ran around the track, just get in and look at what he's got. And you see him in that 53 car just sitting there doing burnouts. I think he's absolutely happy today.
Yeah, and I was going to say, I think this is something I wish they'd add to every track, and that's the victory lane that the driver could drive to and either do a burnout in or keep the truck there. That's exactly what Bryce Rayner did, but he is your race winner of the Bristol 160. Randy Richard takes home second, Nathan Meyer third, Andrew Hale takes home fourth, James Harris fifth, Tyler Meeks in sixth, with William Mann Jr. seventh, Caleb Forsyth in eighth, Brad Thacker ninth, John Legger in 10th, Toby Ritter's back in 11th, with Mike Hill in 12th, Jason Nethery 13th, Kevin Martin 14th, Kevin Kirchar 15th, and Wesley Carter rounds out the field here tonight. He finishes in 16th. All right, we are going to go grab your top 3 for interviews. Stick with us. We'll be right back at Bristol. All right, welcome back to Bristol Motor Speedway. Going to start first here tonight with your race winner, the driver of the number 99 machine, getting his first win of the season here tonight. That is Bryce Rayner. Bryce, this is Austin up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you, Austin.
Well, man, so far, I know it's early in the season, but it seems like every week the speed was there, but everything else wasn't. You either had bad luck, bad timing, somehow the strategy didn't play out. Tonight, it's the opposite. You get the late charge, and you get in front at the perfect time, and no caution late. How'd you feel to get the first win tonight?
It feels really good. I mean, we were so close the past 3 weeks. I think we were running top 5 or, having incidences or anything like that. But truck felt great on the long run. I managed the tires pretty well to able to make that quick adjustment on that second to last caution there. And it just rips on the long run. And to be able to take care of your tires and then run through the field like that, it shows something for our setup and how fast we are. And if I don't get bad luck, I feel like I have a shot to win pretty much every week.
Yeah, absolutely. We saw that with the speed that you had here late tonight. And now that you've got that first win off your chest at a very tough track nonetheless, how do you feel going into the next couple weeks? Do you feel like the momentum's on your side?
I sure hope so, Austin, because we have had a couple up and down weeks for sure. Starting the season at Homestead, probably could have had a chance at the win there, but made a couple mistakes there, and just same thing in Martinsville, bad luck. Talladega, bad luck. So hopefully this flips a switch for us, and we can go run up top and go get some more wins for Team Conti and our fellow competitors that are also Team Conti. But yeah, it feels great. Long time coming for sure. And yeah, I'll celebrate this one for a while.
Sounds like a plan. Well, hey, Bryce, before we let you head out tonight to go celebrate, is there anyone you want to thank or shout out?
Yeah, I want to thank you guys up in the booth for putting this on, and for all the fans. Y'all do a tremendous job each and every week when you guys do this. Thanks to the admins for putting this league on as well. Missing Craig out there as well. He's a real sticker for these short tracks and plate tracks, and it's a blast racing with him. So wish he's out here, but circumstances came into play, so that stinks. But we'll take a win tonight. Thanks to Team Conti, Kevin, Randy, all these guys that are with us. fast setups each and every week, all thanks to them and the help that they provide us. Digital Sim Sports, Martin PC, and yeah, after throwing some away, we finally got a win.
Absolutely. Well, Bryce, we appreciate you talking to us tonight. Again, congrats on the race win, and we will see you next week.
Sounds good, Austin. Thank you.
All right, and now that is going to bring us to your second place finisher. We'll see if we can get him in here in just a moment. And obviously, Rainer mentioning that it just feels so good to get that first win, kind of get that off your chest. But finishing second tonight, the man who also had a really, really good run under his belt, and that was none other than Randy Richard, teammate to Bryce Rainer. See if we can get him up here. And it looks like we've got him. So now, standing by with Randy Richard is Wesley Shaw.
Hey, Randy,
how you doing, Wesley? Yes, I'm here.
Absolutely. Man, that was a great race you're in today, starting, P4, finishing in second. How's that feel, man?
Oh, that feels good. It's a long time coming. I feel like I'm always competitive. I mean, there's some fast guys in here, but I'm always up there where I feel like I'm just a hair off from them, and finally got a decent finish. We'll take it, though.
Absolutely. We kind of saw you going a little bit all around there on the top 10 there all night. What did it feel like on the strategy coming through with how many cautions kept coming out, man?
Yeah, I stayed on the same strategy as Bryce. You know, we were talking, we're in Discord together, and then almost came down. I think it was about lap 117, I think it was, on that caution to get tires, and it was like, I track for this meant too much, and then I was able to pull away a little bit there, but then Bryce ran me back down. I saw him coming. Just I didn't have nothing for him at that point.
Yeah, we kind of see you on the last few laps there. We see how much Bryce Rainer just reeled in on you. What was your kind of strategy going forward? Kind of sitting up high, running low, and what was your strategy coming through that on the last few closing laps?
Yeah, I was trying to run low, but then once he got to me, I felt a little bit more comfortable up high as a defending line. So I ended up going up high. I held him off for a few laps, but once he got door to door with me and started to gain on me, and he cleared me out of the corner, I knew it was just a matter of holding on my spot and keeping consistent to keep P3 behind me.
That's awesome to hear, man. One last question, you want to shout out tonight?
Yeah, definitely. Grindstone Developments for putting on this league, and you guys for announcing it. I love watching the replays after I'm done racing, and of course, my teammates with Team Conte Sim Performance, and all the guys, the builders over there at Team Conte Sim Performance, and my family. Besides that, that's about it.
All right, thanks, Randy. You have a good night and celebrate that second place.
All right, thanks, sir. Have a good one.
Yes, sir.
All right, and now that is going to actually bring us to your third and final podium finisher here on the night. A man who's had a great season so far, and that is Nathan Meyer. Nathan, this is Austin up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Well, you bring home third here tonight. A couple instances, though, you had your truck in the lead. We saw you almost spin it at one point. What do you think went wrong right there?
I don't really know. I entered the same way I've been doing it, and I don't know. I just felt like my wheel goes soft, and then next thing you know, I'm sideways, but barely topped the wall, saved it, and then raced our way back up to third.
Yeah, absolutely. And, listen, you've already got 2 wins on the season. You take home another podium here tonight. But you look at some of the upcoming schedule, and it's a little bit more consistency. But first off, a short track next week. How do you feel about your chances off at Rockingham?
To be honest, I haven't raced a ton there, so I'm not really sure what to expect. I'll have to do some open races this week to kind of figure it out. But after Rockingham, pretty smooth sailing for me.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, hey, Nathan, listen, great finish tonight. We're going to have a chance to talk to you quite a bit more, so we won't hold you too long. But before we let you head out, is there anyone you want to thank or shout out?
Yeah, thanks to you guys for putting this on, Grindstone Developments and Kevin, and thanks for Team Watson for another great setup.
Absolutely. Well, Nathan, we appreciate you talking to us, and we will see you next week.
Thanks, man.
All right, there you go. Nathan Meyer, your third place finisher here tonight. Well, that is just about going to wrap up our coverage, but before we officially end things, overall, Wesley, I thought it was a fantastic race. I thought it was a great win for Bryce Rainer, first one of the season, but I don't think it's going to be his last, and after what we saw tonight, I'm pretty excited for what we're going to see next week at Rockingham.
Absolutely. You've kind of been having a great season all season long at Mr. Bryce Rainer. I think we're going to see a lot more of them. Hopefully we'll also see a little bit more of Randy Richard. And not to be a little partial, but I think we might be seeing James Harris a little bit high. You kind of see him finish 5th, qualified 5th. We might be seeing him maybe, hopefully, break into that top and win.
Very possibly. Well, you'll have to tune in next week to find out who's going to get the job done at Rockingham. As for tonight, thank you all so much for tuning in. I hope that you enjoyed. That's it for me, Austin Green, alongside Wesley Shaw on PGR eSports. And until next time, have a good night.